Okay, we're going live.
And we are live. And we're recording as well. Yes, Mummy Swan?
I certainly hope so. Let's see. Probably not.
Yes,
Oh,
let's record. Let's record. Let's refresh. I think we are live. I can see.
Hang on. Let me go to YouTube.
Yes, we are.
Yay!
Yes,
Yay. We are live
We made
and
it.
speaking.
We made it. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday live show at 8:30 p.m. GMT, no BST. Welcome. Today with me, I have the lovely Yvonne in pink, shall we say fuchsia. And today we've got the amazing Chengi with her white and all angelic looking, and me in orange. In orange. In orange. Today we are talking about, I think this is a really important topic. I think what we need to do is, while I'm saying the topic and we're introducing ourselves, please could you invite a friend, tell a friend, because this topic needs to be heard, like why women should never change who they are to impress a man.
Never ever.
Authenticity in relationships. And as you know, we'll kind of always go into the definition of what is authenticity in the first place. What are we being authentic about? Are we being authentic about what the feminine coaches have been teaching us as we stay dresses but remain masculine mentally? Or are we thinking like men and acting like a lady? What does authenticity really mean when it comes to this topic? So we are the Black Swan Relationship Academy, and welcome to our channel. And thank you for tuning in. Definitely invite a friend to invite a friend to invite a friend while we're tuning in. Who am I going to go to first? All eyes, ladies. I'm looking at you. Everyone's just looking down right now.
I'm checking out why my camera is not showing the comments. I guess they're none.
Yeah. No, it is. We are live. We've got Nadine, we've got Tina, we've got Raven, and they're the ladies that are just in the comments at the moment. Thank you so much for showing up and showing up on time as well. These are definitely Black Swans. So let's start off with you, Chengi. Let's talk about embracing authenticity in relationships, because we do so much just to get into the relationship. Most of the time is because we want to get him into the relationship. So how do we then switch to embracing authenticity, or should we just embrace it from the very beginning?
Look, I think this idea that I want to get my crush into a relationship with me is probably the biggest problem going, because you can't, it doesn't kind of work that way. A woman can only select from her suitors, right? And her suitors are not the guys that want to sleep with her. Her suitors are people that are actually trying to keep her, that are trying to ask for her hand in marriage, that are trying to pursue her in an honorable way. If you've never been pursued honorably, then you're not presenting as a keeper, obviously, or you're just not ready, or there's something wrong. But in general, I'm not saying that men don't want to get laid. The point I'm making is that we often want this guy to become my person. So what do I need to do? If I want this guy that I crush on to become my husband, what do? I morph into whatever I think this guy needs me to be.
Yeah.
If I show up authentically, then what's going to happen is the men that can handle me, that like me, that want to keep me, are more likely to stick around. They're more likely to say, you know what, I can handle her. She's a little bit mouthy. Because that's who you are. And you want somebody to marry. So you want somebody who can deal with some of your mouthiness, not to deal with it for life. But as you grow and master your communication, you want somebody who's going to kind of find you cute, or think, oh, look at her, there she goes. And almost have the sense of humor around where your areas of growth need to be. So we become inauthentic in relationships and try to change ourselves because we're trying to appeal to our crush, when really we should be trying to attract men who are choosing us and then being ourselves, so that they can see if they can live with it or not.
I love that. Thank you so much. Again, authenticity takes so many different shapes and forms. And actually, hey, you, Seven Her in the comments has already asked the question that I was going to ask Yvonne, is what is authenticity in the first place?
For me, authenticity is in your truest self. You show up as you. You are, when I say you show up as you, it may sound as if I'm saying you show up anyhow. That's not what I mean. If you're going out with somebody, especially if it's for the first date, let's, say that you're with him. And if you're used to doing things in a certain way, you speak a certain way, you dress a certain way, the person would have already spoken to you. They would have already seen the way you dress from if you were having, say, online calls. So they would have seen the way in which you dress. So because they've actually seen you and they're speaking to you, that means then if he wants a date, this person actually likes what he's seen and what he's hearing. Now you show up with a tiara. You're now trying to speak oh so frightfully posh, but it's just not working. You're doing yourself, number one, a disservice, and you're not being your true authentic self. So to be that, what you have to do is to be you, whatever the most comfortable version of you that you know. When you put your best foot forward, that's how you show up, and that's what authenticity is.
Okay.
Showing up.
Yeah.
There are some words I struggle with, and these are my teeth.
Yes.
I would add to that, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Getting to the nitty-gritty, everything that Yvonne said is 100%. And I just want to get into the nitty-gritty and probably give an example of myself, how I hate to do it, but I'm going to use myself. Load. Okay. So I'm a very opinionated person. And when I have an opinion, I tend to really hold on to it because I think through my opinions for ages before I decide that's my opinion. So I will think through a situation for 6 months, maybe even a year before I decide this is my opinion. If it is not a clear opinion, I'll say, I'll be curious, right? And for me to make up my mind about this is where I stand in life, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is what's important to me. I have heard pretty much every perspective, every point of view, and I've decided that this shall be mine. So with that being said, there was a time I would date and a man would say something that is contrary to my opinion. And instead of me actually showing up and saying, that's not my opinion. Can I share my opinion with you? Because I love this topic and I really want to share my opinion with you about this topic because I've done a lot of research. May I share this opinion with you? What I would do is think, I'm going to pretend to go along with his opinion because he's going to think I'm too opinionated or I talk too much or I'm masculine, or I'm not a submitted type, because I was like in those days shopping for marriage like nobody's business. So in my mind, let me not show up with that part of me. Let me hide that part of me that actually thinks, because, men are intimidated by a woman that thinks, and men are intimidated by a woman with, intelligence. And I don't want to come across like I'm too smart. So what I'm going to do is dumb down. And then when I get him into a relationship, I'll start slowly sharing my opinion, and then when we're married, I'm just going to be telling him my opinion, right? And I think a lot of us do that. We think, let me show this person what they want. So this is what would happen. I would choke my words, swallow hard when he was probably saying something that I thought was ridiculous, not in alignment with my values, not in alignment with my thoughts, because my fear was rejection. I didn't even think, is the right guy going to choose me? It was, I need this guy to choose me because he's my crush. He's so good looking. He fits the bill of whatever husband figure I want. So I need him to choose me. And that is my number one priority. So if he doesn't like women that are opinionated, I'm certainly not going to be that girl. Now, I didn't even know if you wanted women that are opinionated or not. I just somehow subconsciously felt, because obviously you got your childhood trauma, you got your stories, you got
Yeah.
our stories. So in times gone by, when I've seemed to be opinionated, I've ended up in the corner. So I'm not going in the corner. So I'm going to be the agreeable girl. I'm just going to go along with it. And then what would happen is you're now in this relationship. And now you think it's time for you to share your opinion, but your opinion is not allowed here.
Yeah.
Right.
And not just by him, right? By yourself, because you've not allowed yourself to speak.
Yeah. I mean, now you're speaking, because we have this thing of when I get more commitment, I will show up more authentically. So we're almost trading authenticity for commitment. So I am going to keep my mouth shut until you make me your girlfriend. Then when you make me a girlfriend, I'm going to keep my mouth shut about certain things to make me your wife. And then when I'm your wife, I'm going to let rip. Or I'm going to keep my mouth shut so you don't cheat on me. Or I'm going to not say that. You know, we kind of, some of us continue this journey all the way through. And that's pretty much the nice girl, right?
Yeah.
That's, if I wasn't being the nice girl, I was being the cool girl. Or perhaps, you know, I don't like men who have any addictions or whatever, but I would find myself going, as long as it's casual, like you just smoking, like maybe once a weekend. I mean, that's not authentic.
No,
it's not. It's, I don't like it. That's authentic.
Yeah.
But if I say that this little smoking habit you have, or this little drinking habit that you have, or this little party habit you have, this morphing into whatever he needs. And it happens in micro ways. You know, it starts off with what Yvonne was saying, you showing up dressed and talking funny.
The tiara.
Exactly. You know, and then it's like, boom, I'm ghetto, you know. And I think that much of it, you know, there's a lot that we as experts and coaches have a lot to answer for.
Yeah.
Because we've told people men don't like A. Men don't like B. But I've been dumped by a guy. He didn't quite dump me, but I got dumped. So I got dumped. I got dumped by a man because he was looking for a different prototype. Right. So it's not that I was doing guys don't like A and I was avoiding the A at all.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really the qualifier for him anyway. The qualifier for him was he wanted a woman that he can get drunk with and smoke with. And that was the kind of prototype that he wanted. He wanted that girl. But I was marketing my product to the wrong person. Yeah. And then you think, what happened? No, some men want the ratchet girl. They want the girl that is hood. They want the girl that is who's feisty.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're wasting your time trying to be whatever this person needs you to be, because what they'll do is they'll abuse you, take from you, knowing full well that you're not their fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, you're not what they want. And yes, a certain caliber of man wants a certain caliber of woman.
Yeah.
But this doesn't go for everybody. So, you know, we have to understand that, you know, your no is authentic. Your yes is where authenticity starts. You're speaking up. You're owning. I remember Sarah Jake saying when she met her husband, Torre, she said, she told him, look, if you think you're getting one Christian nice girl, let me just make it clear that you're getting a woman that's growing in Christ. So she said, I want to play my playlist for you of songs, so you understand what I listen to. Yeah. Right. And she played all the hip hop with all the swear words. She's like, this is my playlist. Right. Yeah. This is the music I enjoy. I'm not going to try showing up as your, you know, pastorswife.com. I'm not going to tell you that I love the Hillsong tune. No, this is what I listen to. She said she just basically opened the books and said, this is who I am. She wasn't doing, hey, I'm not worthy of you. I'm not good enough for you. That wasn't what, because we can get into that. Yeah. It was, I am me. I'm on my journey. I'm going where I'm going. Now she's one of the world's most prolific preachers. Yeah. I don't know if she still listens to that music. She may very well do. But one thing that we all love about Sarah Jakes is authenticity. Yeah. Yes.
She
that
shows
woman
up,
is so authentic. There's just no, almost like you think, okay, even if the tabloids wanted to come out with something she did, like nothing would make us not love her, because she's never presented herself as, we'll just do, oops, well, never mind, Sarah, because take her wig
like,
off.
even when she took off the wig, I was like, oh, everyone else, oh, but you know, I could. Had it been someone else who was inauthentic,
it would have been like, oh my goodness, but it's her. She'll take her shoes off while she's preaching. I've seen her on an Instagram live peeling her lashes. You know, now, is that how I would like to behave? Is that how I think Black Swan? Of course not. But at the end of the day, she's not trying to come across like her lashes belong to her. She's saying, look, I do this because I feel pretty. I like the way that I look, but I'm also happy for you to see me without it. Because these things don't define me.
Exactly.
You know? And there was a time when the idea of even going to bed with no makeup used to freak me out. You know, like you go to bed with makeup and wake up looking perfect. So for us, it's showing up in inauthenticity, shows up in so many ways.
Yeah, it does. And I was actually going to go somewhere. It's the thing to do. I think it's really us coaches and the church. Times I think you mentioned it earlier, we have done a disservice to women because we say men like a woman who looks like this, and that's what you hear in the church. If you want a husband, this is how you need to be. And I remember before I got married, I stopped listening to secular music. I stopped drinking. Like I would not touch wine, like nothing. I went teetotal because I wanted a husband, and this is how I was conditioned into, like, no. And then we went praying and fasting, and then a guy showed up. Within three months, it asked me to marry him, and he was so adamant about women who he wanted a woman who was not as dressed up, as who wouldn't put makeup on and so on. So I dumbed myself down. I stopped wearing wigs. I was always wearing braids. That was just not me. It was not, but that's because of where I came from. And I think sometimes as coaches, what we do, and I think the beauty about Black Swan Relationship Academy is we evolve with the times, and we grow, and we embrace growth. There was a time, yes, we did videos. Okay, this is what a man like this likes this. And I think you've been saying this for a while, that the age of advice is coming to an end. It's really because the age of advice was advocating for, this is how you need to show up to get this. And it was generic, right? It was brushing everybody with the same brush. And then we forget that women are individual. Yvonne, I'd love you to actually speak on how individual we are and how we can then show up authentically, even taking into consideration all this advice that we're given. Because the lady again in the comments was saying that she's a professional, she's a PhD, and we've had this issue before where educated women feel that they need to dumb down to be able to meet a man and get married. What are your thoughts on that whole?
Do you know, as both yourself and Chengi was speaking, my favorite quote came into my head again, and it's that to thine own self be true. Because when we are not true to ourselves, then we are the ones that suffer from it, not the person around us. It is us, the ones that we feel out of place, but we suffer it just so that our partners, the boyfriend, whoever it is, or our work colleagues, they can, get on, and that's bad for us. And one of the things I believe that we need to do for ourselves is check ourselves and ask ourselves, why am I actually doing this? Am I doing it for me, or am I doing it for him? And if I am doing it for him, then why am I doing it for him? Why is it that I am not enough, that I've got to change to fit into another mold in order to accommodate wherever it is he's going or what it is he's doing? The thing about it is, it's always seems to be the woman that has to change. You have women out there who are CEOs of multi-billion-pound corporations, but I don't hear her saying to her husband, or we don't read her, of a CEO or someone in a high profile position saying, my husband is going to upgrade himself or downgrade himself just so that he can be me. I don't hear that anywhere. So why is it that it's always the women who has to go up or come down in order to appease or, to make him look good or to make herself look even better than she actually is? When did we believe that it was okay to do this? And the church, as you said earlier, has a part to play in it, because I know that for myself, I was brought up in a way that said that women did this. I come from a home where my mother did. My father came home from work, and when he came home from work, my father's dinner was prepared and he ate, etc. And I was brought up that a woman treated her husband in a certain way. But having said that, now today, it seems to be a dirty word to say to a woman, but you've got to cook for your man. Yeah. And she will look at me and want to know why. It's not because he can't cook for himself, but I, for instance, enjoy cooking, and I enjoy cooking for my husband. But if I say that, it's going to seem as though I'm a sellout. No, I am being me. It's what I like to do, and I do it because it pleases me. And I think that's where we, as women, whether, you're 13 or 83, have, seem to have lost the way, is that we don't know the reasons why we're doing the things that we do. And we think we should do it because Jane said, or this podcast said, or that article said, or that reel said. We don't stop and ask ourselves the question, well, why am I doing it? Who am I doing it for? How is it going to help me get to where I want to go to?
Yeah, and I know Chengi had your hand up. I love where we're going with this topic, because it kind of, like, again, we're coming to a different age or a different way of dating. We now have online dating. We now have matchmakers that you have to pay to get matched with the guy. And there's so many, like I think Coach Iduna saying there's over 8,000 apps just in the UK alone that are dating apps, and people are meeting there. And I was like, the way we date and the way we court is changing. And it reminds me of this one story about how throughout the years, the family had cooked chicken a certain way. They'd always bought a certain size dish and broke the legs of the chicken to fit it in. But no one had ever asked why they always broke the legs, because you can just put the chicken in because the ovens are bigger now. No one had ever asked why. And it turns out they always broke, grandma had broken the chicken because they didn't have big enough pots to fit the big chickens or the big turkey. So they'd always break the legs and stuff them into the chicken. Then that's how they'd cook it. But because we thought that was tradition, so the old models of how we used to date or how women were supposed to show up is looking like it's not working. I'm hoping that you were raising your hand because you wanted to go in that direction. But either way, it doesn't matter. But go ahead.
I was just going to answer Yvonne's question. Why do women have to change? But I do also want to address that, because that's really important. I think culturally women have always been asked to change for two reasons. We were sold the lie that marriage was for us. And even now we have women losing their minds and proposal videos. And I'm thinking, is it yes or no? Come on. And all of that pre-excitement has programmed men into thinking that marriage is for you. And when we believe that marriage is for woman only, that the man has nothing to benefit from it, he's just doing me a favor, getting on one knee so I can have a big party, right? Then I am always laboring for that ring. I have to adjust for that ring, because he's doing me a favor. Because I have been getting triggered a lot by certain ways of thinking recently. For instance, oh, he did it this way, that way, and the other one. I'm thinking that's mad. But they're married and have been married for 10 years. And I'm like, well, they're just in a dysfunctional marriage. That's all. Let's stop making this marriage the prize.
Accommodated dysfunction.
Exactly. What we do is almost like, oh, well, they got rich.
Yeah, but
they robbed people, they stole, but they're rich. He didn't get a job, she didn't get any work, they didn't start any businesses. They swindled the next door neighbors. And well, that's not gonna work. Yeah, but they're rich now. They live in they live in Chelsea. That's what we do. We're like, the whole process is useless as long as you get married in the end. And so that's why women end up doing all of the adjusting, because we've been told that marriage is for us. But in fact, the people that benefit the most from marriage are men.
Yes.
The most in terms of life.
Some statistics to support that, actually. Apparently, a woman's life expectancy is not even increased by an inch because she got married. It's the man's life expectancy that is increased, almost doubled. Because
about 10 years on average.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
And he makes more money when he's married. He has more sex when he's married, despite what people say. Married men have more. And men have better health. They don't do well with being alone. The benefits for men are insane. Okay. In the same way as we've been told that, sex is for men, actually sex is for women. The benefits for women sexually is way more than the benefits for men. And the marriage really, really serves men as they get older, especially as they get older. And so if we both knew that it's a gift to us both, then we wouldn't do any of this funny business. But we've, certainly if you come from an African background, are you married? Hey, she's not married. Hey, she's not married.
Not a woman.
And she's not, like this whole sense of worth, and that's what has conditioned us to be inauthentic, because now is the race to the ring. And what's happening now is the Black Swan Relationship Academy is full of women that are divorcing because they did the race to the ring, because nobody cares how you get to the ring as long as you get to the ring. So it doesn't matter if I have to change myself into a chameleon. Every guy that stands before me, I will change to suit who he is, as long as I get the ring, and then I enter into hell. But to this young lady, before I hand back to you, Unique, Miss PhD. What's her name? Hey you? Is it Hey you?
Hey you, serving her.
Hey you girl.
Hey you, serving her. I like that.
Serving her. Oh. Miss Hey you. We have a lot of PhDs, a lot of very, 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 very successful women that work with us. We're very blessed.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and we say this, we have all sorts, professors, all sorts. You are not your PhD though.
Yeah.
And we can be inauthentic by marrying our accomplishments.
Yes.
That's the other coin of inauthenticity. I don't feel enough as me. So before I enter a room, in order to feel accepted, in order to feel seen, in order to feel heard, I will walk in as Mama Swan. Do you know I'm the CEO of the Black and founder of the CEO Black Swan? And I've been featured in every news publication in the United Kingdom, and I am in the Independent, I am on BBC, and I am this person, and I have done this and I have done that and the other. Right? We can enter the room with our accomplishments, our degrees, our, every woman sitting here with me is accomplished. We can walk in with our accolades, and married women do it too. I'm married. Well, but who are you though? Who are you? And so what I always say to all of my, and this is why relationships break, because finally I am the PhD, finally I am the CEO, and finally I am the married woman, and finally I am all of these things that we need to put on ourselves. So you choose, now you submit to me. Now you give me what you didn't give me 5 years ago before I had my PhD. In fact, now that I've got a PhD, you owe me A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. Now that I am a CEO, you better treat me some kind of way. Okay. Yeah. When Yvonne becomes a billionaire, she's going to treat her husband exactly the same way, because Yvonne will still cook. Let me tell you how I know. Yvonne will cook for me. I will be like, oh, Yvonne, I don't know how to make that fish. I could know how to make it. but she loves cooking. She'll come into my kitchen, start chopping things and putting it together. Yvonne will always be Yvonne. And you'll always hear about Yvonne's love for cooking. And you'll always hear about, because that's Yvonne. Not necessarily what she does, but it comes from her nature.
Yeah.
And so I always say to my clients, to our clients, is that all you are, though? Are you kind? Are you gentle? Are you funny? Are you adventurous? Are you soulful? Are you peaceful? Who are you? Because we're a composition of our character. We're a composition of our quirks. You know, are you a foodie? What makes you joyful? What makes you angry? What triggers you? What makes you want to wake up in the morning? What makes you go to bed at night? What makes you feel like, oh, had a great day? What's a great day? Who are you? Because nobody is sleeping, having children, building a life with a PhD, or the CEO of Black Swan Relationship Academy, or the stylist and the owner of Lakaya, you know, or the MD of whatever. Nobody's marrying that.
Yeah.
So we become inauthentic still, because I don't have to figure out who I am. I just wave my accomplishments. Now, I know on the internet, women have been told, a man doesn't care about your education and your man doesn't care about your money. True. But he is so much better off if you're well-educated and you come with money. I mean, that's just pure mathematics right there. Right? He's better off if you're bringing in, you know, an extra 6-7 figures. You know, and he's better off if you are intelligent and he can actually hold a conversation with you. So it's not to say, because I don't want women to not go and accomplish and be the best they can be. You know, we should be as educated as our brains and our hearts want us to be. We should be as successful and as wealthy as we can be. Yeah. The issue that's on the ground here is, will you hide behind it and be authentic still? You know, we have somebody that we all know, and when we first met her, you know, her whole thing when she came into the group was, I have done, I have, I've done, I have, I've done, I have. And we were all kind of rolling our eyes and looking out the window, and we all formed this terrible opinion of this beautiful person, only to find out that they're adorable. They're lovely, they're so adorable, but they were so inauthentic. To start off with. Exactly, that what they met was rejection. What if they walked in with that sweet and lovely? What if we discovered, oh my God, are you really that person? How much better would that relationship have been if we had met this beautiful, sweet, lovely person and go, oh, isn't she adorable? Oh, do you know, she did this and she is this and she does this. We would have had a better relationship, but she had to spend the early part of us thinking, why is she doing that? Right. And that's what we do when we have the PhDs and CEO and the CEOs and the $1 million and the Bentleys and all these things that we lead, is we don't allow the man to see who you are, that you cry too, that you bleed too, that you get angry at stuff, that you get annoyed at stuff, that you tickle silly at stuff that other people. I have a friend, if you give her bad news, she starts to smile. If you say, and this is truly her, if you tell her, oh, then this happened and, you know, the cat was run over by a car, she'll go. And that's a coping mechanism. It's almost like a tick. And she will say, I'm so sorry. I laugh at bad news. If you tell me something horrible happened, I'll be, oh my God, really? Again, it's a tick, right? But that's me though. Now I can work on that. But if you know yourself enough to say, no, I'm laughing, but it's not funny. That's Chengi. If you meet Chengi, she's going to giggle at things that are not funny or probably even offensive.
Well, Unique will just giggle it after every sentence. She'll say something so serious and so profound and go,
yes, that's you. Exactly. And that's adorable and that's lovable. And a man can roll with that. But what you don't get the giggly side of Unique, and you just get, well, I am a coach of the Black Swan Relationship, and I am the CEO of the client, and I am the. This is what we're doing with men in the relationship space. So I could go on and on, but it's really about.
I'm actually going to talk about the whole thing about authenticity and embracing it. So I think in I don't want to say that we don't, no, we don't understand authenticity, to be honest with you. We really don't. I think we forget that we take ourselves everywhere, and we forget that for all she could have been doing, because most people like that come from a very masculine space where they have to say, this is what I've done, I'm so and so, and da-da-da. And we forget that when we come into different spaces, we have to kind of read the room and become that. So authenticity gets lost in translation at times, as in we forget that we take ourselves everywhere, and we have to always, a feminine woman kind of reads the room, and then she shows up as who is needed, for one, which is still her authentic self. I'd love you guys to kind of expand a little bit more on that. It's like, say when you're on your first date, you need to show up with your best foot forward, right? But what is that best foot forward? What is read as authentic on a date? And do you hold anything back? Is there anything that needs to be taken into consideration? And also talk on authenticity versus vulnerability. Who wants to go? Shall we say?
I think Yvonne should go.
I think so too.
I've been yapping on too much.
Thank you. It's
but anyway.
Just before we came on live, we were having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation we were having was about, would you date somebody if they ate with their mouth open? And which is, you know, so I liken that to what you say when you're talking about authenticity. Chengi said she knew someone who, whilst their mouth was closed, they were chewing, but you could still hear the noise that they were, but their mouth was closed. And most of the people sitting around the table, we said, maybe not.
Yeah.
That if, you know, that's a problem. And we had agreed that, you know what, your no is okay if that's something that you particularly didn't want to do. I say all that to say this. If I know that that is my problem and I'm going out with somebody, and as you rightly said just now, Unique, that when you go on a date, you put your first foot forward. If this is a problem and it may be a medical issue that, you know, nobody knows about, there's two things: I can either go or stay home. Because every time I go out with somebody, I never hear from them again, or I don't get invited anywhere because this is my problem. When I chew, albeit my mouth is closed, I'm still making a noise and it doesn't sound very nice. So what do I do about it? This, if it's a medical problem and it can be dealt with, then something needs to be done. But at the same time, if you're going to be authentic, you've got to let the person know. If you've been talking to this person for a long time, and every time they suggest you go out and you've put them off, then something is wrong. You shouldn't be you shouldn't feel inferior because this is a medical issue that you've got. You should be able to say, look, this is the reason why. And you explain to them, it's not because I'm being rude, but unfortunately, I've got this medical issue. I'm trying to get it sorted out, but it just seemed to be taking longer than whatever the situation is that you feel that you need to tell them. Then it's up to them to make a decision to say, you know what, I like you anyway, doesn't have anything to do with it, and then go. And, you know, that way you're being authentic to them. And not only are you being authentic to them, you're being truthful to yourself. Because why should you stay at home crying another night when somebody's here wanting to, you know, take you out? And you, when you go out and they see you're beautiful, everything about you is wonderful, and you show up and you're putting your best foot forward and you're trying your hardest, and he's still talking to you, it's all going well, you know. So we miss out on things because we're not authentic. When don't tell the truth. And when we do that and we show up and we list all the things, the accomplishments that we've done, thinking that that's going to get us into the room, that, as we found out, can bar you from the room and can take you a long time to actually get back in, because now we're seeing the real you. And when we see the real you, then everyone opens their arms and says, you know what, it's okay for you to come in.
Yeah, but do we actually do that? Do we? Because there's actually a conversation that's going on in the comments that's really interesting, because one says, if I want a man, I should be able to adjust, authentically adjust. And my next point was going to be, how, I mean, most of us don't even want to have that conversation. Reminding me of a date that I went to, and the guy happened to mention that he smoked, and for me, smoke is a non-negotiable. And he just, oh no, just on the weekend. But you could tell already there was something there, and the conversations just got awkward. The next few days I didn't hear from him, and the next few days I didn't hear from him. Eventually I reached out and said, no, I'd love to hear your voice. And the phone call was awkward, because at that time, both of us were not willing, one, to be vulnerable and say, look, I mentioned something, like you said, in my case, it was the smoking, and you felt uneasy. Is it a problem for you? That's a conversation I was willing to have. But is this still the time where we're now able to adjust like that? Like she's saying, when I want a man, I should be able to adjust. So in the same, use my scenario, for example, or the chewing example. If I want a man, should I be able to adjust authentically? I could be with someone who smokes as long as he doesn't smoke around me.
You know, all of the ladies in the chat, if you are not in the Black Swan Nation,
I know.
One's going to jump into the YouTube universe and must smack your little wings. Smack them. Because these things we can't resolve via chat. However, then conversation. Now, here's the thing. You asked a question about vulnerability and authenticity, and now we're talking about adjusting authentically. So we're talking about compromise. Vulnerability, authenticity, compromise.
Compromise.
Okay. Without vulnerability, we cannot be authentic. The person we're running away from the most when we're being inauthentic is not the other person's rejection, is actually our rejection of ourselves.
Yeah. Self-abandonment.
When I feel sad, when I feel disrespected, disrespect is a perception. If I feel sad and unloved, instead of owning that because it's so vulnerable. Okay, let's talk about Black women for a minute, because I've seen a few comments of Black women.
Yeah, we're going to go there.
To be, because we're not all our clients are Black, and we don't want to exclude anybody, but definitely one of the things that we're taught as Black women culturally is to be strong.
Yes.
And we should be strong. This world is tough and it's hard, and we need to be strong. And as a people, we're not born into ease. We're not born into any privilege. Everything that we achieve, we work hard and we achieve. So strength is a good thing, but it's what strength looks like that got messed up.
Yeah.
If I'm sad and I'm able to articulate it to myself, that is the beginning of being strong. When I run from myself, I'm weak. So we now need to redefine what a Black woman's strength is. What is a woman's strength?
Yeah.
You know, white women and different races of people go through some of the worst things that some of us as Black women have never had to go through.
Yeah.
What is a woman's strength? It is her ability to process her emotions, not to be emotional. The reason why somebody said here, I think it's Hey2, that she started crying. Somebody started crying and he put the phone down, is because men do not handle emotional women well.
Yeah.
You must understand the difference between being emotional, bursting out in tears, random emotional outbursts. I want you to watch the video about how you are emotionally immature. Many of us are emotionally immature. Okay. And men will run from that, masculine, feminine, or whatever. Nobody wants to raise their daughter. Okay. Now, I don't know why you were crying in this instance. I don't know the scenario, but I'm going to assume you're a smart Black swan. So you must have had a real reason to feel that tears were authentically true. And guess what? They are. But have you processed what those tears are? What are those tears saying? Where are they coming from? What are they about? Are they to manipulate him? Are they to control him?
Ooh.
What's going on in that scenario? Because that's ability. So if it's not vulnerable, it's not authentic. I have to deal with so many women who mess up their relationships and their marriages because they would rather show up angry or manipulative than just ask for their need to be met.
Mm.
Darling, I'd really love you to hold me because I'm feeling a little bit insecure right now.
Yeah. And I think that's where I was going with this question about that whole, especially when it comes to the beginnings of a relationship, because that's where we become inauthentic, when we don't honor our needs, right? If you could kind of veer it by pointing it towards the very
We're not
beginning.
in touch with our needs. Because remember, the idea of strength we have is self-abandonment and disassociation. So I must, to be strong, I must disassociate from my femininity, from my body, from my emotions. So then I only have two emotions to feel, which is the usual, which is why they say angry Black woman, because the one emotion we have total access to is rage, anger. I don't care what anybody says. As a Black woman, and the Black women that I know, we access rage and anger way quicker than we access sadness, than we access hurt, than we access insecurity, than we access, melancholy. We don't even have a vocabulary for the rainbow of emotions that are so painful. We just have, he got my nerves, he's got my, what is things going, bye. Or whatever. Because strength was taught to us that you disassociate, you run away, and then you're allowed to be angry because that's a show of strength, right? And then we date men that are just angry and they've got tempers, and we think they're strong because they'll fight anybody in the streets. No, they're also weak because they have no emotional mastery, right? So for us, it goes down to, we were taught strength in the wrong way. In order for us to truly be strong, if you're going to be immovable, if you're going to be difficult to manipulate, if you're going to be difficult to use, you must have emotional mastery. You have to know what's going on inside of you, so no one knows you better than you know yourself, because predators will always know the emotion better than you know it. So when we end up in narcissistic relationships or these weird relationships, it's because the narcissist is the sociopath, narcissist, psychopath are highly skilled to pick up on emotions you don't know anything about. So they know when you're hurt, but they know that anger is going to come out instead. And then they're going to deal with your anger and leave you hurt. And then because you've never processed your hurt feelings, you don't even know what to do with them. You end up apologizing to the narcissist. You end up feeling bad, or, because you resort to outbursts. And you've never quite figured out, when I feel hurt, I can actually articulate it. That was hurtful. When I hear you say something like that, it's really hurtful, right? So we kind of create this inauthenticity because we genuinely have no emotional mastery. And so now you're entering into a situation where you're inauthentic. How do you compromise? So example, me and Bay, I've been in all day. I want to go out and eat. He doesn't want to go out, but he really, really likes French. I could deal with French. It's not my favorite, but I want to go out. He doesn't want to go out, but he likes French food. Now, if I'm authentic and I'm like, look, I really want to, what's really going on with me right now is I need some fresh air and I need to go out and I want to feel cherished. I want to feel spoiled right now. I want to feel like I'm special to you. And that looks like me putting on a pretty dress and going out, right? He's like, I'm tired, A compromise there is me being authentic. Actually, the thing for me is going out and being made to feel special. So I will adjust the meal. I would rather go out and have Mexican, for instance, but I'm going to compromise. I'm going to adjust because you're going to meet that need to feel special. French restaurant. And then you're going to enjoy the day too, because you love French food. So now we have a compromise because we're coming from authenticity. But if I'm not authentic, you never take me out. You never try to do anything special for me. No compromise. Because what do you really want in this? Have you even searched within yourself? Have you done the inner work? So what is it that I really want right now? I want to feel special. Can he make you feel special by cooking for you at home? Because if you need to feel special and you're in tune with yourself, you're like, actually, honey, could you cook for me? I like it when you cook for me. It makes me feel special. And he might prefer to cook for you because you are authentically in tune with yourself. So when we're adjusting, and there's no vulnerability, and we're not doing authenticity, then we're not compromising, we're self-abandoning.
Yeah. I love how you put it, because it actually helps, Josephine. Again, the conversations are really going on, loving the conversation. And I think it really addresses the emotional part and learning to master your emotions and how to actually speak to your man so that he listens. I know Nadine is in the comments and saying that, look, you need to book a call. I'll say definitely join SWAN Nation, because these are the things that we talk about on a deeper level. We really go into the actual need that you need, that what actually really lies behind you being emotional, what lies behind him making it hard for you, because he says you're a masculine man and it's hard for you to be vulnerable around him. There's either something there that you're not looking into, an emotion that you are not comfortable looking into, and that's okay. So this is why book a call or join SWAN Nation, which is a safe environment where you can talk about these things, because there's a lot more other questions to ask. And when you know yourself authentically, this is where you can now say that, look, my emotion is based on the fact that I don't feel vulnerable. I don't feel like I'm safe to talk with you. And that's a conversation starter. And Coach Yvonne, if you could kind of give a few pointers as to, because obviously right now we're right here and we're all about giving you as much value as you possibly can get in the 1 hour that we have, because we only have 7 minutes left. But how can Josephine improve on this idea that I'm emotional, and being able to speak to her man so that her man listens and provides a safe space for her to be able to speak?
Do you know something? That's something that I can, I adhered to that because I was that person when it came to me and my husband, because it's, as Chengi said earlier, you're brought up to believe as a Black woman, you're strong and, you know, you can, run up Mount Everest and do all of these kind of things. But when it came to being vulnerable, it was something that I found it very, very difficult to do. And married to a masculine man, it's again made it even harder because I wouldn't cry to let him see that I was upset about anything. Because he didn't get it, he didn't understand the reasons. Okay, why are you crying? You know, these words, and it make it seems as though he's being uncaring, but he isn't. The masculine wants to solve the problem. What is the problem? I am feeling hurt, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling unhappy, or whatever the situation is that I'm feeling. I don't know how to communicate that. So what I did is I'm crying, and he's standing there looking at me, and so what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know, and go. And what I've had to learn is actually speak to him, tell him what is going on with me. And once I started doing that and saying, this is what's happened. Yes, this morning I got up, my head was raging. He was just about to go out the door, and I said, do me a favor, I really am not feeling 100%, just give me a hug. And he turned around, gave me this big bear hug. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm great. Have a great day. See you later. And he went. Do you get what I mean? But that has taken a number of years to get through, not through no fault of his, but through mine, because I didn't know how to be vulnerable. And thank God for Black Swan and everything that I've had to learn over the last 18 months is to learn how to be vulnerable. When he comes home from work, to read his mood, to see what mood is he in, before I come with, when he looks as though he's had a bad day, I don't, I say, hi, how you doing? He says he's good. He goes, he showers, he does what he needs to do, gets changed. When he comes in the sitting room, then I know I can talk to him. Not because anything is wrong, but he's now relaxed, he's in, he's settled down. So the person who's asking what to do with her man, learn to speak to him about especially the little things that annoy you, because it's those little things that turn into big things. So if it's something that you're crying and he doesn't understand, he doesn't want to, you want him to put your arms around him, ask for it. I'm upset because this happened. Can you give me a hug? Let him hug you. And you'll find that when you say, please hug me because such and such, he'll gladly do it, because you're asking him to do something that's in his wheelhouse. I think if you was to say, you never tell me anything about you. No, let him do something practical. Once he's got used to doing the practical, then to talk about the, okay, so how were you as a child and that kind of thing. But, start small. This happened at work today. I'm not sure what I should do about it. Can you help me? What do you think I should do? These, these are the conversations. And is it going to be when you see him later tomorrow, whenever it is you see, you're going to be able to rush and do it? No, just take your time and do it very slowly. Whatever's happening with you, just say to him, this is going on at work. What do you think?
Love that. I was actually going to go, because we've got a few more minutes, I was going to go into, Yvonne can say that because you've now mastered your emotions internally, right? You are well versed in what your emotions feel like. So I know Coach Nadine has mentioned the emotional masterclass, and I think we also need to talk about you owning your feelings in the first place and what they look like, the range of feelings that you may go through, because your feelings are your body's language telling you what is going on with you. Your thoughts are your mind's language telling on what's going on with your mind. And emotions are the things that we start to feel. When you can articulate your emotions, it makes for better communication. But before you get to even that, I think Mama Swan will be the perfect person to close this up about how I think Raven, Josephine, and where's she gone? Hey, you there? These, I think, are the perfect women to join us on Swan Nation.
Absolutely. First and foremost, well done, ladies. You've shown a bit of vulnerability here tonight.
Yes.
Well done. And thank you for making yourselves subject, because I'm going to say a few things and then I'm going to try and keep it short. But, when I get into my flow, it cannot be stopped. I'm going to have to depend on you need to stop it. Okay, real quick.
1 minute, go.
A little bit of a situation here. Just says, I can't help it. That is a red that's a red flag to me. That's an emotional red flag. I can't help it.
Can't help what?
I can't help it. I'm emotional, but it makes him feel uncomfortable, have to adjust. Then I think there's somebody who also said something to the same effect of, I can't talk without crying. I don't know who it was. It's someone.
That's Josephine, yeah.
Josephine, okay. This is where there is no emotional mastery. And here's what I want to also say, there's trauma there.
Yes.
When you can't help it, when the response, here's how we know we're traumatized. Where trauma is inaction and just emotional, kind of whatever. When the response to a thing is way more hysterical than the thing that actually happened, there's trauma trapped there.
Yeah.
If you cannot express an emotion without welling up and crying, this is trauma. And it's not gonna fix itself because you asked a question on the life. So I'm so proud of you for saying you're gonna make a call. Yeah. I need you to make that call because we need to get to the trauma. If you don't fix the trauma, you will change all the men, but you are always going to be the girl that comes in who can't help it.
Yeah.
And there isn't going to be a man who's going to be able to support you. I suspect that this man is running away from the energy of the trauma rather than from your pain.
Yes.
So
that's all the different energy, isn't it?
Yes.
Emotions have energy, trauma has energy, lies have energy, truth has energy. If you want to know more about energy, do the energy mastery class. It's like, gives you everything you need to know. You are coming, the trauma energy to a man sounds and feels like control.
Yeah.
So we need to open the hood, baby girl, okay? And really look at the trauma, because there is trauma there, 100% guaranteed.
Yes.
I know that for a fact, okay? And to address trauma, we have to be brave, okay, Josephine? So be brave for Mama Swan and the Swan coaches here for you, because we love you.
Thank you very much, Mama Swan. Is that, are you going on to another one?
I'm just going to say something about, what did you ask me about the other girls? Basically how to do emotional mastery, was it?
Yeah, actually something else that Hey there said about I can't feel my feelings, which again is about what we're talking about, is articulating the language of your feelings. Because the reason that we can't feel our feelings is because we don't have a voice for them. They've never had a voice, or self-abandoned. We've never been taught that, okay, my feelings are this. All we know to express is anger, sadness, laughter, joy. Those are the only, like, we do just the basic. But when we're saying, I can't feel, she doesn't understand when we say, feel your feelings. You know, obviously there's a lot of coaches that say that, and we say that at times as well. Allow yourself to feel your feelings. But I think, and as well, there was a lady that I was coaching. She's like, Coach, I don't understand. What do you mean when you say feel your feelings? And it's about being in your body as a woman. So I was saying, all your feelings are here to tell you something about yourself. Your emotions are a language. Your feelings are a language. Your thoughts are a language. And it's up to you as a feminine woman to understand what your feelings are. And just before we go, we're 3 minutes over, but I think we can stay here, right? Because I think it's a very important thing to address, especially as women. It's a very important thing to address, because the more we run away from ourselves and our feels, this is where we become emotionally immature. We become stunted in our growth. And most of these traumas that we face were like when we're quite young. We stay stuck in 3-year-old bodies. We stay stuck in, well, just grown women acting as 3-year-olds. Because if you really look at some of the tantrums that we have, if you tell off a 3-year-old, what do? They just go bawl and cry, and they don't have the language to say, okay, you've hurt me by what you've said. This is what is going on. So before we go, could you please actually go into a little bit more about the idea of feeling your feelings and articulating them, Yvonne? Then we'll kind of
Sorry?
Not saying Yvonne, and then we'll go over to Chengi.
Right. To go into your feelings, the best way of doing so, when you were speaking, Unique, what came to my mind is when we feel pain, and you know, if you get a pain here and it's there on Monday, it's there on Wednesday, it's there on Friday, and it keeps being there, it's the body's way of telling you that there is something wrong, because that pain has been there for a long time. It's the same way as though the lady, for instance, who was saying that she can't speak to her person because she's always crying or what have you. It's her body, the tears, it's her body telling her there is something wrong. There is something wrong here. And in order for this wrong it's to know basically who to go to fix whatever the problem is. If I've got a pain in my chest and it keeps bothering me, I'm going to my doctor. He's going to say, you need to go and do this, 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 or this. If there's a dull ache here and I don't understand where it's coming from, then I'm gonna might go to your doctor. He may say, okay, you might need to see a therapist or wherever, but wherever it is that, you're feeling, I know Mama Swan is going to go into this much deeper than I'm doing.
That's okay. Feel free to go deep as well.
It's just like, I'm just listening to everybody talking. Look, two things. Where Yvonne just touched is a really good beginning. So I'm going to take it from what you said, unique. We don't have the vocabulary. Let's build it. So one of the things I do with clients is tell them, look, go to Google and search emotions. And then it's going to give you a whole list of emotions, some of which you even forgot existed.
Yeah.
Your job is to read and know them. And then every day at the end of each day is to tick off the ones that you felt in that day. Because now you're building a vocabulary and a language for your emotions.
Yeah.
And you're also trying to learn, what was that? That was annoyance. I was annoyed. Because sometimes annoyance feels like anger. And sometimes it's not annoyance, but it's frustration. They can feel like the same thing, but they're not quite the same thing. But we usually go to anger. Okay. And I still anger because anger is what I call an auxiliary emotion. There's always the real emotion, the primary emotion. Anger is often the auxiliary emotion. It's the emotion we use to cover up the real emotion. And it takes a lot of self-awareness work to go deep. Now, taking it from building a vocabulary, now that we've built a vocabulary, we can go into our bodies. Because the feminine woman lives in her body. We need to come back to the body. And this is where Yvonne is talking about coming into the body. Everything you feel will have a physical reaction in your body. Everything, because it will always trigger your neuroreceptors, and you're going to deliver in your body a hormonal cocktail.
Yep.
And when that is delivered, it's going to settle in your body somewhere. So if you are doing what Yvonne is saying and you are going into your body, sometimes it's tears, sometimes, but it's a response to a chemical reaction in your body. Okay. From there, we can learn to go deeper into how we feel. So part of the exercises we do as coaches is breathing exercises and breathing work. We do that a lot, especially people with trauma, because when you have trauma, because all of our coaches are trauma informed, and we have a trauma counselor as well, because it's where we win. Okay, so part of the thing with trauma is that when you have it, you defend it.
Yeah.
Okay, you defend it by no, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. No, I've already worked on that.
I'm reading a book about that.
Right. And I'm not saying that you are not working on it, because trauma is not healed overnight. I want you to know that therapy is not just, therapy. Everybody goes therapy. Okay. Goes therapy. Because there are different types of therapists. They're cognitive behavioral therapists. They are, therapy is not just it's not just one thing. You have to go to a specifically trained trauma informed therapist.
Yeah.
Trauma is something that we're only beginning to acknowledge now. It's not something that has been included in therapy. So yes, you can talk about the childhood wounds. We have a lot of people who come to us after 10 years of therapy, 5 years of therapy, long-term therapy, and they don't get the results because it's not trauma-informed work. Okay. So you need somebody who can help you take the journey from your vocabulary into your body, from your body, because it's trapped in your body. So we can talk about it day and night. We can talk about it until the cows come home. But if we cannot locate it in your body and heal it in your body, then you're not going to have the freedom that you desire. Okay. So it's a process. So what I do want to do, okay, we never come on these lives and talk about book a call and all these things, but from what's coming up from these conversations,
there's more conversation to be had.
Yes. So do make a discovery call. Do make the call. It's not going to be the end of the world. Talk to one of our coaches. Let's hear your story. Let's see if we can help you. If we need to refer you to our trauma counselor, she's equipped in a million different ways. Our coaches are equipped in a million different ways. Then we can do that. If you want to go research for yourself, at least you have intentions to take to your therapist. Okay. So with us as coaches, and we work with our counselors or people's therapists, because I work with people who are in therapy. When I see something and I'm working through something with a client, I will say to them, I need you to go into therapy with this intention.
Yeah.
To deal with this thing. Okay. So it's a good collaboration. So if you want to go find your own therapist, you have our blessing. Just give you a set of intentions to take to your therapist. Okay. So that's what I'm going to say about this. For those of you who, coach, I believe Yvonne is in Black Swan Nation tomorrow. Black Swan, the membership subscription group, by the way, because I remember somebody on Instagram saying, I thought I was part of the Black Swan Nation. I'm like, no, you're part of the universe. We have classes that take place Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday if you're in premium.
Yeah.
All of our coaches take a class. So tomorrow, Yvonne will be in there. Happy to, if you join tonight, tomorrow, you can be on a call and Yvonne will answer your questions in detail. The way we've kind of been doing this, but obviously in detail, and ask more questions. Or better still, book a discovery call and then we can help you out in sort of navigating the Black Swan universe. But that's what I'm going to say. I'm done. I'm not talking anymore.
No, that's okay. I was going to say as well, so even if you just join tomorrow, we have a library worth of almost 2-3 years worth of calls that have been happening every single week. So you can still refer back to a call that's already happened if it's something that, and they're all now literally listed. Once you go on your dashboard, once you've joined, you'll have a whole list of videos to refer to. And we don't only say this because we want you to join the membership. Yes, we do. But it's because we are able to give you more hands-on one-to-one advice, because it's a public forum. There's only certain things we can ask. You're not on the call with us. All our calls are held on Zoom so that we can see you. And another thing that adds the dimension that I guess we don't really speak about that much is we need to be able to see you as well. We need to see how your body responds to certain things that we talk about, because then it gives us a little bit more information about what you're actually going through. When you say, I don't understand, how do I feel my feels, but you're busy touching your throat like this. It's the focus. It allows us to focus on, okay, what is it about that area that before has made you not be able to talk? Because there's something that's stopping you from talking, because you're covering yourself, you're covering your mouth, you're holding back something. So it's little things like that and little key things like that that help us to really help you more on a personal level, rather than here where all we're doing is reading comments. It's just like being in a relationship and all you're doing is texting. So come into a relationship with us. We are inviting you. We know it's virtual. We want to see you. We want to hear you. We want to feel you, because we become a family. We kind of know each and everyone's story. Some of the sessions become very emotional because we are there for you as sisters. And sometimes I know it's sad, because in the world we live in, being around feminine company ends up being toxic. But this kind of environment is, we believe, is a healthy feminine environment. It's a true feminine environment. It's an authentic, vulnerable environment where you can just come and be yourself and be allowed to be yourself. Look, we are happy that you have joined us, you've come on here, but let's dig deeper. Let's do more than just showing up on a YouTube live. Let's do more than just talking and texting. Just like when we go online, we don't like the guys that keep texting. We are inviting you into a relationship with us. Come and invest in yourself, invest in your own growth, and join the rest of the other Swan Nation, Black Swans, who are growing and developing into these most amazing women, who some of them are actually in the comments answering you right now. But more than anything, I think today has really been an amazing live. Like I said, we've just come up from a digital retreat, which again will be happening next year. We're not saying too much yet, but thank you so much for joining us today. Any last words, Yvonne?
Just, you know what? When we come on and we say, join us in Swan City, or we say, do this course or whatever, we're doing that because we know that what we've suggested is going to help you. So please, please, please come and check us out and see what it is that we can do for you. Because at the end of the day, what have you got to lose? You're only going to get better. And who doesn't want to be healed?
Yeah.
Well, I want to say that you're so truly loved. And I want you to know that there's so much love waiting for you. A love you don't have to struggle for, a love you don't have to change for, a love you don't have to perform for.
Yeah.
There's a man out there who thinks your tears are sweet, and who it's his dream to wipe them off your face and let you know that you're going to be okay because he's got you. There is a man out there who thinks you are the easiest human to love.
Yep.
And that guy deserves a healed woman. He deserves a healing woman. He deserves a woman that is on a journey to wholeness, because he's so great. He's amazing. and you are his gift. So be that. Be that black swan. Be that woman he prays to meet every day. Be that woman that he wonders if he will ever meet her. And I want you to know that we lose hope. We lose hope, and when we lose hope, we lower our standards. When we lose hope, we stop investing in ourselves. We start investing in things and not in ourselves. When we lose hope, we stop moving forward. And I want to leave you with the miracles that happen in the Black Swan Relationship Academy never cease to amaze me.
Yeah.
Love is waiting for you. It is so abundant. It is waiting for you. Your heart has to be open to receive it. So we love you so, so much. You are so loved here. And over to you, Unique.
Over back to the YouTubers. Thank you so much for being with us today. Do share this live with someone. Someone needs to hear this, right? Someone needs to hear this. Don't be stingy with your love. Don't be stingy with your knowledge. Don't be stingy with what you've learned here today. Share it with someone. Tell someone about what you've heard today. They don't necessarily need to come over to the Black Swan Relationship Academy, but this is how we start to heal the world as women. This is how we start to change culture. This is how we start to inform our children that to come, our friends, that you actually don't have to change for a man. You can be loved just as you are. You can receive love and give love just as you are. And we all want that. We all want to be seen. We all want to show up, and we all want to be heard just as we are. But we start off with making that acceptable once amongst ourselves. Because if that is acceptable amongst ourselves, and when we meet a man, they now have to level up to our standard, because we are the culture changers, and we can't change cultures when we're keeping all the knowledge to ourselves. So we are inviting you to join the family, whichever way you want to join the family. But you can download the app, which is the easiest way to access and book a call. You can book a call from as small as 15 minutes. If there's something that you want to deal with in that moment, join. Or we've got so many, not even so many, we've got Swan City, not so many, Swan City on Facebook, which is a free Facebook group. But ideally, please download the Black Swan Relationship Academy app, where you can ask all your questions. All our coaches are active in there. If you need any help, we're immediately available. And then the next step is to invest in yourself by joining the SWAN Nation, which is our paid membership subscription. Happens on Tuesday, like Chengi said, on Wednesdays as well as Thursdays. And that Thursday is bi-weekly. Or you could even do one better and invest in just yourself and do one-to-one coaching with a coach. Normally this takes place as what we call the SOULMATE attraction system. But I would say before you do that, book a discovery call. There's so many ways we could be out here helping you. But still, if anything, if you're happy to stay on YouTube, that's fine too. We accept you just as you are, wherever you want to stay. But either way, we're always going to invite you to the family, because there's a lot more fun happening when you're in the family, in the family, in the family. But before we go, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much, ladies, for showing up as you always do. Thank you for your authenticity. Thank you for your wise words. Thank you for just being your beautiful selves. And thank you to everyone on YouTube today for joining us. And we'll bid thee good night.
Good night. Bye.